Entering the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings 2022 WGC Dell Match Play Bracket Picks and everything else you want to know, including a one-and-done reminder to everyone out there to smash the like button for the episode. Leave your winner down in the comment section, and if you are watching this live, in order to make a comment in the live chat, you need to be subbed to Mayo Media Network. So I highly recommend that you do that right now. Maybe Geoff and I will actually take some questions towards the end. Probably not, but, you know, in theory we could, I suppose, if that's what we're looking at. Anyway, I do want to remind everyone that there is the Pat Mayo Experience DraftKings Listeners League. The link is live down in the description right now. So this tournament starts on Wednesday, so make sure to go get your spot as soon as possible. I would expect the DraftKings pricing to be out relatively soon, because now that we know what the groups are going to be, what the bracket is going to entail, that, you know, they should be following right behind that. I'll do a show with Skylar Hoke on Tuesday for DraftKings picks. This is just going to be betting and bracket picks right now. Hopefully it goes better than your March Madness brackets. Although, if you've been following the me, Cust, and Raza bracket, like, you're still live. You're probably in first place right now. So maybe we can get all four of our final four teams all the way through. We're still looking okay at the moment going into the Sweet 16. So hopefully we can have that much success at the WGC right now. And if you do want to play in a bracket challenge for the match play, hit the description right now. And there is one, our friends over at fanteamgolf.com are setting one up. It's free to join, and it just has a ton of prizes. But if you go to fanteam.com and use promo code MMN when you make a deposit, let me read out what they got here. Let's see. If you play in any contest above 12 euro, which is like $15 this week, the Corrales main event, which is the alternate event going on, you get a free ticket into their €20K Masters contest. So you spend the $15 and then you get like a free $20 ticket to win $20,000, or a prize pool of $20,000. So it's a free roll either way. And if you just want to play in a bracket, there's prizes for winning the bracket. So hit the description. You can find all that right now. Geoff Fienberg. I did not have a good week. I basically turned off the Valspar at, I don't know, midway through Friday, and I was like, yeah, whatever happens, happens, and it didn't really work out for me. Not the case with our good friend Tyler Tambolini at Toe Tag and Tambo, who almost won 100K. Did you win 100K this week?
No, I did not. And like you, this one was kind of out of sight, out of mind for me, sort of at almost at an identical point that you mentioned. Once I sort of realized it's not like the guys I picked played poorly, but they were just never at that like group that was at a certain score that I didn't think we were getting to this week. Maybe I had like Florida craziness like in my head because we had 3 straight events of silly, crazy Florida. This one can kind of play more traditional. I was out of it. And I got to say, in some ways it was really refreshing, Pat. Like, I didn't watch from early, pretty much, I didn't watch anything after Thursday. Like, I followed a bit on Friday. Until Sunday with the last couple hours. And after how insane and like deep last week was and exhausting, and I'm such a softie. I mean, listen, I still can't go anywhere. I still can't bend my knee. So it's not like I have anywhere to be, I guess. But last week was like mentally exhausting just with all the time changing. This week, you know how much I love this event. Win or lose, like I love it. I love it. So it was easy to kind of just be like, nah, this is in a weird spot now. We got the Masters coming up, match play off an exhausting week. So I took my L's and kind of just moved on and been anxiously awaiting the board we just got.
That's essentially what I ended up doing as well. Like, what am I going to start chasing? I guess I could have bet Sam Burns live going into the final round at like 5-1, whatever it was. And I wasn't going to do that. So yeah, sometimes you lose. Cut your losses, move on to the next week. Hopefully, we can grab a winner this time around to build some bankroll before the Masters come on. Maybe we can go match play, Valero, Masters, and complete a turkey. Very doubtful based on the picks that we've been giving out so far this year, at least on my end. At least you've been hitting winners. I've just been the king of T2, T3 so far. But do you have any strategy for betting the match play? Like, we've seen pretty random people end up in the final outside of the very first year when it was DJ versus Rom. Like, you can find your guys 50 to 100 to 1 that have a legit chance of winning this.
Okay, so a couple notes. I gotta say, I'm pretty shocked at myself that we finally got into a run, Pat, of Scheffler at like 18-20 to 1, Cam Smith, again, Sam Burns 25. Like the part of the board that I'm my card I never will ignore. I missed all of those. I was lucky enough to hit some Hoagie Wagon and Neiman at nice numbers. But yeah, so I feel weird striking out when we've been in this constant really good player winning range. So credit to Smith and Burns in that regard, and obviously Scotty Sheff. This event, it's taken on a life of its own. And I had this thought, and you'll fact correct me here, Pat. For a while, it seemed like the only guys that did really well, like that got the trophy in the end, were guys with significant team match play experience, at least in like our era of sort of hanging out. And even a little before that, like Keimer, Poulter, Kuchar, Day, Rory. It was this just run of even DJ. It was this run of like guys that had obviously great players were winning. But guys that had significant team play or President's Cup play, Ryder Cup play experience. And guys have always been crafty. And the last couple on this golf course have gone to very crafty, bulldoggy. I know people hate that term, but it's a match play term. Bulldoggy mentality American golfers in Kisner and Billy Ho, who have some very European like qualities to them in some respects, and how we, the players, they're comparables, I guess, on tour in some respects. Guys always make a run, right? We saw the beer garden. We've seen my guy Norin go deep here. Guys make deep runs in all these contests. Would it have been the burn, feeling the burn last year potentially? But yeah, so I don't know. In the end, I don't want to say Kisner and Horschel are outliers, but to me, I'm still probably going to look at guys that have significant team match experience. Probably, at least those will be my heavier wagers, I think.
Well, the odds have not necessarily updated right now at DraftKingsSportsbook.com with the release of everything coming out, but they don't have like group stage winners as of yet. So we'll dig deeper into that maybe with Sky tomorrow, but we're looking from an outright perspective right now. Who can we get to advance? The question I really had is, when you're making the bets, now that we know the bracket, are you overloading on guys from one side of the bracket, knowing that, if they just get to the final, if you take 4 guys from, let's say, one quadrant or 4 guys from one half of the bracket, I mean, it's easier to have a guy escape that way. Or are you kind of the mentality, let's go one from the top, one from the top, one from the bottom,
let's go, baby. Let's go. I'll double dip somewhere, because people can overexpose the players, but that's like Florida craziness, not me. Like this is an event I can overexpose with a smile. Football season ended long ago. Masters in a couple weeks. The chest is fine. This is an event. I love it. I love it, especially that I still remain I can't go anywhere for myself. Let's give her whatever. Like last week, the basketball, that's a side story in my life. Like I barely care about that stuff. Force myself to bet a game because it's on TV and I can't move anywhere. Well, the family's going to like Maple Syrup Town and shit.
Did you really want to go to? Did you really want to go to Maple Syrup Town?
It's nice, like family moments, but no. Listen, there's been a lot of things that I've been left out of. The weather's getting nice. It would be nice to honestly just be able to go for a walk. But let's get back to what matters. No, I'm in all the quadrants, Patrick. I will be in all the quadrants. I do got to say, nothing with the bracket made me like run to make a bet. Like nothing, but there are guys I am eyeing deeply.
All right, well, let's talk it through then. We're at Austin Country Club, 7,108 yards. You do get 550 FedEx Cup points if you do win, so a little bit better than everything else. It's par 71. What we've seen over the years, especially lately, like I mentioned, Day won the first year, was at this course. Dustin won the second year, and that's back when Day was awesome. And then we had Bubba end up winning, who is a Pete Dye specialist. Obviously, this is a Pete Dye course, so that kind of tracks. We've seen left-handed players do really well at this course over the years as well. Phil's made some deep runs. Brian Harmon's had a lot of success. Bubba has had success here, obviously. And then you get Kisner and Horschel. Kuchar's had some big runs, so you don't necessarily need to be long off the tee, although Bubba and Dustin would kind of take away from that, but Bubba was just lights out that week. That was one of the best hits I think we ever had, was Bubba Watson, like 50-1 here. Just I was really in on that. I had him
Bubba whispered that one.
We did. That was a great year for old Bubba Watson.
Oh, you.
I have not won a cent on Bubba Watson since that year, because he has not won anything since that year. But I almost had the double with Kelly Craft and Corrales, because that's still going on. I don't really want to talk about Corrales at all, because I didn't see odds for it out yet. And guys are just withdrawing. Last minute withdrawal to this tournament as well. Sam Burns said, you know what? I'm good. I'm just going to wait around until the Masters. So Mav McNeely is now in the field as the 64 seed, rather than have Sam Burns as one of the 1 seeds. So someone got bumped up. Whoever the 16 seed is now was a 2 seed. Now they're going to end up being a 1 seed. When we get to the 16 bracket, I guess we can talk about that. Or actually, that's not true, because the 16 ranked player doesn't play in the 16 group. It's still a draw. It's not Brooks. Is Brooks? No, because he's number 20. It does.
But he could be the 16 seed.
He's the 20 seed, isn't he?
Now
you're throwing me off.
Brooks is the number 1 out of Group 16. He's the Group A player out of Group 16.
Is that how it's like? Do they just have the world rankings next to these? No, I guess Robert McIntyre's ranked 70. So yeah, it would just be easier if they put the seeds next to them, because they have Brooks listed as number 20.
Paul sent us something that has that. It's not in bracket form, but it has that.
Okay, because I'm looking at the bracket that's not printable, because thanks, PGA Tour.
They are so bad at this. How did they get worse? They actually made strides last year. Like they just said, we don't care about anything. They care about this less than they care about the cut on a Friday afternoon broadcast. Like, honestly, whatever.
Anyway,
piss on us again.
Yeah,
on us again.
Brooks would have been a 2 seed, is what I'm saying. Now he is a 1 seed in the context of this tournament, because he went from 17 to 16 of the highest ranked players. We'll just leave it at that. Let's start with Group 1. And it's the John Rahm group. John Rahm is the overall betting favorite to win this tournament. He is in the group with Munoz, Reed, and Cameron Young. Throwing this out here for you right now. I like Cameron Young to advance from this group, Jeff.
Yeah, very sneaky. You wouldn't...
You know what? I don't think it's going to be all that sneaky. I can see a lot of people glomming onto this. Munoz can win any of these matches, because he might just get so hot with his putter. And it's a Texas event. He has a lot of Texas experience. I'm not really mindful of all that. What I see with Cameron Young, and what I noted when I went through the research show on Sunday, was the types of players that have done really well at this tournament are really good from 150 and in, because there are so many short par 4s that you can't really get to. Cameron Young is kind of the best of both worlds. He has the distance to get to some of the short par 4s, like number 18, if they move the boxes up, like we saw with Bobby Mack last year when he advanced out of his group. But he's just awesome from like 125 to 100. He can lay up on these holes. If he doesn't get overly aggressive, he's so good from that range. And he's a really good putter. That's the weird thing about him. Like, his approach game can be off or on. The chipping can be off or on, but he's very good from that one specific wedge range. Very good off the tee, and he's been rolling a hot putter. So I think that he is the most likely. Are we really going with Patrick Reed here? Probably not. Doesn't mean he can't advance, but like, have we seen anything from Patrick Reed which would lead him to winning this group?
No, although we are seeing it trending in the right direction.
Are we? Because he gained like 14 strokes between chipping and putting at the Players and still came in 27th.
Yeah, but maybe he's just scored better, played better than a lot of players you wouldn't have thought of. I know the week was silly at the Players, so it's almost unfair to like anecdotally use that in any regard, although it kind of worked for Sam Burns. But no, I'm not. Okay, obviously, if you like Cam Young, you got to wait maybe for these books to reset, although the love for him, people have already, mentioned to me on the internet that they think he's going to win this group. So you're probably right that it's unfortunately not going to be too sneaky. but how could he not get an odds bump with the reset when you draw John Rahm?
Well, I'm looking at DraftKings Sportsbook right now. He is the 5th from the bottom on the betting board. He's 130 to 1 to win this event.
Yeah, 5th from the bottom in this event isn't like others. So yeah, I don't know. I'm seeing 125 at my fingertips. I'm seeing 100. Maybe that gets bigger with John Rahm, or there's just enough steam around him. I'm not. If I have to pick between Munoz, Reed, and Young, I'll ride this Young train. But I'm not predicting the John Rahm upset. He ran into a beast Scheffler last year and got whooped. I think this event, for some of these struggling players, but who are still playing well, I kind of think an event like this is perfect. And no player would I think that is speaks. I'm not. John Rahm, I think, is kind of perfect in that regard. So I'm not picking on him to not advance.
Rahm did advance out of his pool last year. I think he was the only, him or maybe even Casey. I think there was only one seed that ended up advancing a year ago, looking at it. Yeah, there was a lot of like Streelman advance, Van Rooyen, like the 62, 64, 60, 53 seed, 49 in Spieth, 39 in Victor Perez. Yeah, Rahm was the only 1 seed to advance out of the 16 groups a year ago.
There was carnage in playoffs last year. They had the group playoffs because they don't count head to freaking head. And that screwed me so hard last year. I was reminded this morning, it was big, like a few people on Answer last year. He was 2-0. He was up 3 on his back 9 versus Hovland, Pat, and he lost his match. Streelman won his match, and then they were both 2-1. Answer had already beaten Streelman, and then Answer missed like a 4-footer in the playoff to extend the match. It was tragic. I don't like that they don't count head to head, but I guess they just want to keep the players hyper motivated all through Friday.
Yeah, you want to make the end of Friday mean something, and even if it's a bit janky in terms of the rules. Remember when Kevin Na made Dustin make that putt, and then he missed it, and it put Dustin on tilt?
Yeah, that was last year. That was one of the, like, every year we get an incident. Obviously, I tweeted it this morning, the famous Pepsi Keegan Jimenez incident for all time, but we get an incident every year. You know, nothing like Bubba waving guys like OB shots and like pointing to his watch, like letting him know he's clocking you. Berger feels like a status player on tour, at least in his own head, if not in your head. So, you know, he's always brazen. That could be fun to observe. You know, normally in the 72 hole stroke play, they kind of allow you to do your own thing, most of the players, but when you're head to head, some of these guys, yeah, we'll get fun. We'll get something. We'll get something for sure. I think it was Bubba putting Mahan on the clock, and then Mahan got mad at Bubba because he let JB Holmes, who he's buddies with, get away with something like in a match before. I love this event. I love this event. As long as I don't get screwed in Friday playoffs, love this event.
I feel like that happened to Cantlay last year too. That or Cantlay was absolutely striping it and couldn't make a putt.
Perfect.
I couldn't remember which was which.
Yeah.
He didn't advance, but that was someone who, I mean, plays well at Pete Dye courses overall. And I think he was returning from injury at the time too. It was like the first week Cantlay was back. You know, all this stuff mixes in my mind, so I really don't know. But I'm going to pick Cameron Young to win Group 1. You're picking John Rahm?
Yeah, I don't.
Gutless. You're gutless.
Can you, like, pen and paper that?
I got it. So I got to keep track of all the time codes for the show, and I have to keep track of your picks at the same time?
No.
Okay, sure.
It's the PGA's faults. They can't.
All right, I'll make a rudimentary bracket here for myself. And I'll keep track of yours. I'll keep track of yours. I'll just have to open my notebook to 2 pages here, and I'll have to do out the bracket. Okay.
I'm doing it.
So Cameron Young for me. Group number 16 will play the winner of Group 1 in the next round. So Sky and I, again, will dig in more to the DraftKings strategy about using the quadrants to your advantage, not doubling up, and talking through whether or not that's the right move. Maybe you should be stacking everyone in like 2 of the groups, and that way you ensure yourself basically to get 2 of the guys out, and maybe that's good enough to win cash games or even single entries. We'll have more on that in tomorrow's show. This is just about picking winners. We got Brooks. We got Eric Van Royen, a winner of a group last year. Shane Lowry trending up. And Harold Varner III, who I don't think has ever played at this tournament in the past. I have no real leans here. Your boy EVR has been playing some better golf recently. There is water on this course, which is not great, but there's not an abundance. It's not like you have to wrap shots around a lake. That always works in his favor when you don't have to do that. But it's going to be real. Shane Lowry is going to be like the consensus pick in this group, though, right?
I would think so, and that's who I'm probably gonna first instinct is my pick here. Yeah. You know what? Harold Varner.
Harold Varner.
Yeah.
Is that working on the theory is that, Shane Lowry is like a good dude and he's like, yeah, don't worry about it, Harold. You don't need to make that 5-footer. That's a gimme.
No, I'm pro Harold this week. He's the man.
Do you have any other reason besides I like Harold Varner? I mean, that we're doing 16 of these. You can get I will for sure let you get away with that one.
No, he's doing me a behind the scenes favor this week, people in Varner's camp. So I've got to be pro Varner in this bracket. But if I actually Shane Lowry is probably my pick, which would create a fun, right? Rahm versus Lowry Ryder Cup matchup, or even Rahm versus Brooks. See, that's fun to care about.
Rahm versus Brooks would be great. Brooks is 30-1 to win this event. Lowry is 40-1 to win this event right now at DraftKingsSportsbook.com. And then you kind of have to go down to the bottom to find everyone else. Varner's 100-1 right now, and who's the other guy? EVR is 130. I could see EVR winning this again. There is something to like going back and looking at the bracket over the years. The same guys like advance out of their group like 50-60% of the time so far.
I've been betting or rostering too much EVR lately. Yeah. I don't know. That seems like a hard Brooks loves this shit too. Like, I'm not exactly sure how good he's been in this event specifically. I feel like he hasn't been healthy in 2 straight years around this event. It's really close to the Masters. And separately, you could make the case, Pat, it's incredibly awkward Masters prep. Like, the players into match play, forgetting how weird the players got this year, in general, it's a course unto itself that doesn't really mimic anything else you do. Or have to do week in, week out. I mean, obviously you got to golf well, but it's a very awkward path to Masters prep. That's why Rory says, like, I love match play, but players match play is just a weird like lead in for the Masters, and Houston does so much. It appears to help set up for those guys. That's just a side thought. And Brooks, I don't know. He's finally healthy in this event. And anytime he can like just stare at you and know exactly what he needs to do in that hyper specific sense, seems like that's when Brooks can be peak. It almost reminds me like the reason he won in Phoenix the second time was because for some reason CT Pan in his group ended up with a lead, and then he's like, wait, I just got to catch the guy I'm playing beside.
I'm sorry to cut you off there, but it was not CT Pan. It was James. Who started melting once they got to the back nine. Like when he started playing like the easy par fives, he was just in the water or the desert or whatever. But yes, you are correct.
But I love and like I remember like Brooks wins that, and I'm like, no, he just got to stare down the guy he knew he now needed to catch. Like that is so advantageous for those like alpha personalities like Brooks that I don't know. You can't like data it, but I don't know that my winner's coming from here, but for the purposes of filling it through, I'm going to take Harold Varner.
Yeah, looking at the last time Brooks played this was in 2019 because obviously it was canceled in 2020. He didn't play a year ago because of injury. He was 0-2-1 in his group. And Haotong ended up winning that. Haotong and Norin. Haotong and Norin were both tied at the top, and then Norin lost in a playoff to Haotong. I do believe...
Another playoff I got burned on.
Okay. It's great. And then in 2018, he didn't play because of a wrist injury. And then the year before that, I believe he won his group. Yeah, he was 3-0 in his group over Kisner, Reed, and Duffner. So, it's a mixed history for Brooks here. I do kind of like that angle, though, that you kind of lay out, that when he can see the carrot dangling in front of him, if he knows he needs what he needs to do, like that's very clear to him, and if it's just beating one other guy, I can buy into that logic. I really don't know what I want to do in this group, to tell you the truth. Like, do I just say, screw it, take EVR and try to, if we're thinking about it from a bracket sense, I do really think that maybe Shane Lowry's just the play here. Maybe he's just good enough to do this.
I could make the case that Shane Lowry is just the play here. And if you don't think John Rahm is winning his bracket, then this winner, being able to bet and call on this winner, would put you in a great situation, or sorry, a nice strong favorite situation to get to start your Sweet 16.
Okay. So I'm going to take... Screw it. I'll take Shane Lowry. I kind of want to take EVR, but I'm probably going to have Cameron Young advancing no matter what through the next round, so that's just where I'm going to be. Let's move to Group 8. Group 8 has Dustin Johnson. Wow, I don't think he's ever been this low of a seed in this tournament in the past. He's still a 1 seed, but he is the 11th ranked player in the world right now. This is a pretty friendly group to old DJ. You got DJ, Mac Hughes, Max Homa, and Matthew Wolff. So Dustin versus the 3Ms right now. Mac Hughes did advance out of his group a year ago, I believe. And when you do like deep dive into his stats at Fantasy National and look at guys that are really good from like 100 to 150, like that's the only range where Mac Hughes is good enough. And doesn't he kind of fit the Kisner, Kuchar, Billy Horschel type player that can do really well at these events?
Absolutely, he does. I sort of have... He's a guy,
He is a guy.
I don't find myself ever betting Max Homa, but I find myself perpetually cheering for him. And I have this intrinsic belief in what his ceiling can be week to week. So I totally agree with everything you laid out there. I will also say that at first glance, even though I didn't run to make a bet on DJ, who's won this before, beat Rahm in the finals, that was fun. I thought DJ had probably one of the easier 1 seed roads that I saw, or potential groups. So he's a guy that's on a short list for me at the moment.
I'm going to change my pick to EVR from the last group, by the way. Just looking at it, I did it, I wouldn't say a deep dive. I just pulled up some numbers in front of me on Fantasy National. And then looking at the types of players who have done really well at this tournament, again, like they're all the players who are inside that like 125 to 150 proximity. EVR just pops up inside the top 10. Mac Hughes is number 11 in it. I can envision a scenario here where Hughes what if he starts running hot with the putter? He's going to be unbeatable in this group.
I mean, that's the ultimate X factor in match play is matches are decided on the greens, whether to save your half, to put that dagger on there. It's one of the reasons Poulter is who he is in some respects, and in much respects, Kisner. But I would say more so Poulter because his has transcended longer and different courses. Well, Kisner is a top American team player because he's excelled on a comfort course.
Looking
Nonetheless,
at the past 2 winners and like the types of guys that I mentioned that have started to do really well with this tournament, the Kisners, the Kuchars, like if that's the mold that you want to go with. And I think that taking a certain type of player, it doesn't need to be that type of player. It could be anyone. It could be all bombers because we did see that with the Rahm and DJ year, although they beat Bill Haas and Tani Hara in the semifinals to get there. But guys that do well at like RSM, the Wyndham Championship, Colonial, Heritage, those types of courses tend to be the guys that do well in this tournament.
That has been the case, although we did have a DJ versus Rahm.
Yeah, that was also in 2016 or something.
No, it was the first year at this course.
It was I believe it was the second year at this course. The first year at this course, maybe it was at a different.
Bubba?
No, it was Day over Louis in the finals, I think. I could have that wrong. That was 2016. So 2017 was the Dustin Rahm year.
And you don't want to be tracking to unknown. Unknown means your ball is fallen below like a rock's cliff, and you could die trying to retrieve it.
This is true. Do you think that Homa, I mean, are we just crossing off Wolf from this group? I mean, he might come in surprise, but his game looks... Maybe his game is kind of perfect for this because, if he makes an 11, who cares? It's only one hole lost.
Yeah, no, that's definitely an argument. We're going to have that fun conversation at Bryson. I'm seeing a huge number on Patrick somewhere. I'm not betting Wolf. I'm not betting
Wolf either. I'm going to cross him off right now until he gets himself correct. So if we don't go with Homa, what is Homa? Homa is 60-1 to win this tournament right now. I think I actually like Mac Hughes to come out of this bracket. If I'm not going to take DJ, and I'm kind of gravitating against going with a lot of number one seeds, because there's a few number one seeds that I do want to go with, and just knowing the history of this, that only so many are going to move on, that if you can kind of pick your spots and pick the ones that are going to falter, I'll take Mac Hughes to win this group.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Dustin.
Okay, old Chalky Jeff.
I just picked Harold Varner.
Yeah,
bro.
for no reason that he's like giving you free tickets or something like that.
He's setting up someone is important to me in Austin. Yeah, so thank you, Harold.
Good guy. Listen, we love Harold Varner. I got you. Sure. Group number 9, who's going to play Mackenzie Hughes in the next round, is going to be the Bryson, Bland, Gooch, and Westwood group. This is... We haven't seen Bryson play since Saudi when he withdrew after a round. Tim has already expressed his fondness for Richard Bland this week, although he is not his one and done pick. When he texted us his picks, he made his one and done pick and then gave special mention of Richard Bland along with that. The Gooch, who's been really good. And then you got Lee Westwood, another cut. This is a really custy group, by the way. This is the all cust group, I think. But the Bryson number is 35-1. You said you saw a deeper one?
Yeah, I saw 39.
Okay. So 35, 39, around that range for Bryson. Do you trust that he's healthy?
It's hard to tell. And in this format, he could bail, right?
What? Yeah.
A lot of golf to
yes.
be returning. It's a lot of golf to be coming back from injury from because, I just be repeating myself. It's Sam Burns, there's a lot of reasons for his withdrawal, but it's almost as simple as how much golf and how long last week went into another one. And then if you're actually going to be hyper successful this week, you're going to play a lot of freaking golf. And so in that case, I'm concerned. But 40-1 versus Bryson, where I'll take your Wolf. I don't care what Wolf is. Bryson at 40 is more attractive than whatever Wolf's number is to me. And it's the same logic of, sure, I don't know, make a triple. It's not going to hurt me. I'll lose the hole. It can, yes, it will hurt me, but you get what I'm saying. Not nearly like a stroke play situation. An L is an L. And as long as I pepper a few, we can maybe keep standing.
I just worry that Bryson is using this as a prep for the Masters. He hasn't played competitive golf in 2 months at this point. And maybe he's finally healthy, but I can see it being a lot like the Webb situation from the Players' Championship, where it was just, hey, we haven't seen this guy in 2 months. We don't even know if he's healthy. And it turned out that he wasn't the same guy that maybe you would have expected from a return to injury. It might take a little bit to get his seat. He seems very primed to be upset here, but I do agree with you. The 40-1 number on Bryson is much better than whatever they're hanging on Matthew Wolff at the moment if you're going to take a somewhat long shot with just unknown upside. Obviously, Bryson's a much better player, so that can help out a lot. I just don't know where I would go in this group if it's not going to be Bryson. Do we go with Gooch?
Yeah, it'd have to be Gooch by default. Westwood lost in a playoff last year, Pat, to the Sergio hole-in-one. I don't know if you remember that.
I see it. For some reason in my mind, I forgot it was Sergio who had the hole-in-one. For some reason, I thought that he lost to Fleetwood by hole-in-one. Because I think that Tommy had one here last year, too.
Maybe. That's a fun little Scheffler versus England group, too. I don't know if that one...
We'll get to all the groups in due time, if you weren't sure about that.
I know.
We're not going to skip
excited. This group sucks. This is the worst group. I gotta just pick Gooch. He's playing fine. Seems like playing fine could be good enough here.
Let's see what's Gooch. How does Gooch rate out here on Fantasy National? He's not great from in close versus the other players. Maybe Bland is. Can Cuss propel Bland into a situation where he's like on the cusp of winning something and then like it goes horribly wrong for him? Because that would actually track for Richard Bland.
Yeah, no, Bland is sneaky and could sort of play the heritage success path, at least through the pod, if Bryson's in trouble.
I think this is a nice shot to take if you want to on like, because I mean, right? What?
I'm going to be cheering for Bland because I don't know that it's unfortunate that it seems like there's such an opportunity here, but I don't know that I'm willing to invest in it because I'm not betting Richard Bland to win. And you could tell me, you can make your cases. He gets through the pod. I got my ticket compared to the live line. Sometimes those can be really tricky to like, you think you'll have a hedge, but no, because Bland versus any respectable player, like it would cost you so much to make that hedge that you don't get me wrong. I'll be overexposed and it's fun to ride or die too in those situations also, because you feel like you have no recourse to get out on the other side. I even remember having Rom, who would have been 26-1 versus DJ in the final, and there was nothing I could do live, Pat. Like nothing.
And it's funny because I had the two guys who lost in the semis that year. I had Haas and Tanihara, who somehow made all their way through. That's back when I used to just bet Tanihara because he would have SIGs on the course. I was like, good enough for me. But great short games on both those guys. Something not to overlook this week. Just the ability to win holes with par. Because you can get, like you mentioned, like you can get yourself into real trouble on this course with one wayward tee shot where you're underneath of a rock all of a sudden and it takes some like immaculate escape in order to get it up and down from that situation. I don't want to take Bryson because I don't think he's going to win this group. So I guess I'm going to take Gooch. I'll take Gooch to advance. Who are you taking?
Gooch.
Gooch? Okay.
You could even hit a nice drive on 12, Pat, and it catches like a bit of a speed tunnel and it can roll to that rock wall that then is just gone. It's gone. And even your approach on 2, you've got to take on that rock. I mean, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And even 18's a great, fun finishing hole. It's drivable, but if you try to drive it, you can also end up in some like weird drainage well on the left. Like it's how leveled the green is. They do a lot of fun things there. A great course for match play. Maybe that's easy to say because I'm such a simp for the event, but I loved Dove Mountain, but I honestly feel like they found a place even better. And I loved La Costa. That's got some personal whatever. But yeah, I love this place. And I don't think they're leaving because I think they PGA moved some base out into Austin. So probably here forever, which is fun.
Yeah,
I back it.
And it looks good in those photos because you can put the bridge on it. And it's a fantastic, it's a fun to watch course. The issue with the match play is that once you get to the weekend, the tournament sucks to watch. Like it is awesome Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, really. And then you get to Sunday and it's an absolute slog to try to get through. At least they don't play 36 holes in the final anymore. Remember that?
No, I can't debate that. I can't debate that it's a slog on the weekend. All I will say is that there's so much monotony in the golf season that I'm here for any change of pace. Like I don't even hate on Zurich. And this is the most elite change of pace you can have is WGC match play. Yeah, so there's so many things they could probably do with a few events that I'd have no issues with. This one is definitely the best of them all.
All right, let's move to Group 4 where Patrick Cantlay is the number 1 seed. He's going to be taking on Keith Mitchell, Sung J Im, and Seamus Power and Associates, who is the number 48. Actually, he's the number 3 seed in this group. Keith Mitchell snuck into the field as one of the alternates when 5 or 6 guys didn't end up playing for whatever reason, or they're hurt, mind you. I could see Power. Like I basically you need to build me a case against Cantlay to come out of this group. It's one of the not necessarily the easier groups, but it does seem like there's a huge gap between Cantlay and the 3 other guys here.
You think Im is? I would think Im is one of the tougher, like B player because like it's A, B, C, D in tier. B tier player you could get. So I'm surprised to hear you say that. That being said, if you just want to, and I think you would be totally allowed to discard the players. I mean, think about how bad Cantley was 2 years ago at the players. I think it was like 8 over before you looked at your app. And then last weekend, just how he could have been so much worse. He couldn't hit a fairway for his life. He was horrible. There's something about that place. Maybe it's just not comfortable for him. So you could just totally ignore Cantley's player performance and look at what else he's done and probably see that he might actually the best value bet on the board on a Pete Dye course.
Let's see.
Of the front end tiered players betting wise.
Yeah.
I don't want to say value to a guy at 22-1 or whatever.
Yeah, I'm seeing right now Patrick Cantlay is 22-1 at DraftKingsSportsbook.com. It's not that I don't like Sungjae. I just don't think Sungjae's playing well right now. And I think that right now, his game is closer to Power and Mitchell. Mitchell, who's playing great, versus Cantlay at the moment. Like, even at API, when he ended up inside the top 20, it was a complete putting-based performance. He was bad at the players, even though he made the cut. He missed the cut at Honda. Like, the last time that he was really any good was at Farmers, and even then, it was a big chipping and putting week. His irons have been really bad for a while. And maybe that doesn't mean anything. Maybe he can just turn it around this week. This different format will elevate him back up to what we think of him. But I'm actually going to take Patrick Cantlay to win this one.
I'm not prepared to pick anyone other than Patrick Cantlay right now, who I remember we spoke about it earlier. I remember he was on, I was so happy he did in advance last year because of my other bets. Yeah, I could potentially bet him outright.
Okay.
I could.
Group number 13, which I actually think is one of the strongest groups from top to bottom because you have no one standout candidate. You just have 4 guys that I think you can make a realistic case for winning this group based on their skill profiles. Hatton is the 1 seed. Berger is the 2 seed. Siwoo is the 3 seed. And then you have Bezadenhout as the 4 seed. They're all kind of the types of guys that I would want to target in this event, yet somehow they've all been mashed into the same group.
Yeah, I'm prepared in many respects. I mean, maybe this or group 2, but this, on like first glance, was my group of death for having to find one. And maybe that's just because like we love Siwoo and Bezadenhout on this show, so that, glorifies the third and the C and D tier. Berger, worth noting, is the highest ranked B tier player in the field with his 17 seed. So Hatton got a tough draw here. Berger hit a rock wall versus Phil and left, and then that might have been the start of his injuries. Probably not though, but I'll pick Berger. Berger.
So you're going to take Berger to go on to face Cantlay. I mean, I can't really fault you for that. When we take a look at, like I said, whether it be RSM or Wyndham, I mentioned Colonial, a place where Daniel Berger has won before. Sony Open, another place where he's played really well in the past. And even looking at the past 24 rounds, that 125 to 150 range, Berger is second in the field in proximity from there too. So if he starts rolling a hot putter, all of a sudden he can get back into it. The issue is the other guys in this group all rate out really well too. Like, you stick Christian Bezadenhout with 150 and in, guys like next to the pin every single time. We've still yet to see that immaculate putting performance. Maybe that was just an aberration for a year and a half where he just putted the lights out and we all just thought that he was an excellent putter, that he would have those spike weeks. We just haven't seen one of those in a while. And Hatton couldn't make a putt at Valspar, yet the ball striking was like off the charts good. A week after making everything and chipping everything in, not being able to drive, not being able to hit an iron. Another guy who's played really well at Heritage in the past too. So like it's really confusing. And then you have Siwoo, who has won a bunch of those events that I was talking about, and it's a Pete Dye course. So you never know what he's going to be up to. Like, this is a really tough one for me. I think that Berger is probably the best play. I think that I'm going to take him as well to advance out of here, but you could show me anyone on Friday. If all 4 of these guys could be in a fucking playoff for all I know.
So I totally agree with everything you said, and I have no interest on 2 facts at the moment to make a single outright bet in here because winning this thing seems hard. And then you have a potential date with Cantlay, which is something that I am forecasting. I would like to be a part of all of these players potentially if their paths were different. Yeah, I don't know. I could maybe even bet the win. If I don't bet on Cantley, you could see me on Saturday morning betting the winner of this group to beat Cantley in a match. Like, that's how much, like you, Pat, I like all four of their potential to make this thing work. Berger had a horrible Ryder Cup, not that it matters, and I don't think he's ever played well here. So for a guy that I always make a big deal about, you know, he's been playing cash games since he was 12 years old, and as part of his moxie, really has not shown up in a fact-based match play situation. That being said, I think he's playing great. We saw Honda, we saw players. He got bad weather drought and got the worst of it in that other part and still hung tough for the most part. So Berger would be my pick.
I'm going to take Berger as well, though this is definitely shaping up to be the week everyone jumps off of Seabez after betting him for all the 6 starts that he's had so far this year. And
he's the cheeky Euro, like firecracker of the week.
I mean, he's not Euro, but sure, I get your sentiment.
International, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm
having a hard time, Pat. I already called James Hahn CT Pan, and I just called a non-like American player a Euro just because he's not from America.
Can we call Mac Hughes a Euro? Is that something we can do?
No, I don't know. I don't care.
Okay, fair enough. Reminder to everyone, if you want to get involved in the live chat, if you're watching this live, you have to sub to Mayo Media Network. Only subs can go in the chat nowadays. That's the way that we've rigged it, so more people will subscribe to the channel. So thank you for doing that. Smash the like while you're here as well. And if you do hit the description right now, our friends at fanteam.com have a bracket challenge where it's free to enter for everyone, and you can win free entries into their big DFS tournaments. And if you deposit at fanteam.com right now using code MMN, put in like $20 or something like that, play in a Corrales type event, anything $15 or over, you'll get a ticket into their Giant Masters as well. So you can free roll that forward and you have a chance to, I mean, you might as well be registered for when you win the bracket challenge and get your account credited. So fanteam.com, code MMN, check it out. Let's move to region number 5. And I mean, is Scheffler, who is the favorite here, Scheffler, Poulter, Fitzpatrick, and Fleetwood. I knew going into this after losing in the finals a year ago that Scheffler was going to be insanely popular, runner-up finish in a WGC in his first appearance here last year. He's won 2 events coming in. He's from Texas. All things pointing up. But the rest of this group is fucking tough, man.
Yeah, it's really tough. I'm having a bit of a situation. Oh, shit.
Are you okay?
Okay. Safe. Yeah. I almost just pulled the whole ship down because I got caught on a wire and that leg doesn't move.
And we know your mobility is not at its finest right now too. So people will give you some leeway on that.
No. Yeah, this is a hellacious little group that Scheffler has found his way in. It's Scheffler versus, I guess, 3 British Bulldogs. Maybe people will be off of Scheffler because of the group, potentially, Pat. I don't know about bet. I mean, betting, he's now at a number where
he's the 4th favorite in this tournament. He has the same odds as Colin Morikawa.
Yeah, so there. I don't even what I was trying to say. Like, he is at almost super elite status at the moment, and it feels like he can be a player. If the year ends and he has 4 wins, I'm honestly not surprised either. Like, that's the type of machine it seems like he's capable of, that he kind of proved he could be capable of even before he ever won. That being said, I'm looking at the middle of this. Like, for me, it's Fitzpatrick or Fleetwood.
No Poulter whatsoever.
No. If I want that little charm, I'll go to Fitzpatrick or Fleetwood.
I would prefer Fleetwood in this format over Matthew Fitzpatrick. Only because, I mean, Fleetwood just might not have it going whatsoever. but I mean, maybe there is no data to back this up, but he does seem like the Hunter Mayhans of the world, the type of players that we've seen do really well in this event where they're just going to attack flags and they can pile up enough birdies to offset the potential double bogeys that come along with it. And then double bogeys don't really matter all that much. Here, like you said, a loss is a loss. Like Sergio is another one who's played really well in this format over the years. I could see Fleetwood just kind of being a good match play player.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. You could pencil me in for Tommy Fleetwood.
All right, so Tommy, no big shocker there. I'll tail you on Tommy as well. I don't like taking all the same picks as you, but let's go to group number 12. Not the strongest group in the world. Defending champion Billy Horschel is in this group with Min Woo Lee, Tom Hoagie, and Thomas Peters.
Thomas Peters 110-1.
That's what he is?
Yeah.
Huh. That's actually pretty good.
Just bet it. Let's go. He was a Ryder Cup rookie at Hazeltine. He was amazing. I know that's nothing factual to bet him this week. He actually really disappointed me a bit so far, Pat. I was going to joke that I thought our Masters odds would be shorter. At the moment, they're probably going to be bigger by the time the Masters comes, but we could flip that quickly. Peters, like I'm staring at it right now to hit submit on an outright.
I actually kind of like Hoagie a little bit better in this grouping. Just go with the guy who's playing well.
The guy who's playing well, and you mentioned that if you get inside that 125, 150 is kind of like best on planet or in a small cluster.
Yeah, I mean, just his irons in general. He's the best player. For whatever reason, 125 to 150, he's 49th in this field over the past 24
What's his odds? I honestly haven't looked at him.
But from 100 to 125, he's first in proximity. From 175 to 200, he's first in proximity. And from 150 to 175, he's fifth in proximity. The issue is that the dude can't fucking putt. He needs to recap. I think he used all of his putting luck in the final round on the back nine at Pebble Beach to beat Spieth. That's the only thing I can muster.
I bet on him, and I'm happy if he did. Thank you. Again, he's right there. TCU Athletics, Ladainian Tomlinson, Tom Hoagie. Let's go.
So he has Texas experience is what you're saying?
Texas Christian, which, yeah, I guess that was a fun one last night.
He's 100-1 to win this tournament.
Yeah, geez. I'm even seeing, Pat, the book, like just I mean, everyone's number one book is DraftKings. It's 100-1.
Should we be giving some special consideration to Billy Horschel, who's just playing great golf?
No, other people can bet him.
All right, I'm going to pick Hoagie to win this group. Are you picking Peters because you're betting him?
Potentially. I'm even seeing Hoagie 125, Pat.
Even
bigger
better.
than Peters.
Even better. So who are you taking as your
Maybe
group winner?
bet both of them. Would that be crazy to bet Peters at 110 and Hoagie at 125? Like, I know I could get a little silly this week. Is that too silly?
I don't think so. Like, if you think that they have a good chance of beating whoever comes out of the next group, which would be Fleetwood by us, but it's probably going to be Scheffler, then sure, why not? Like, stupid stuff happens in this tournament all the time.
Yeah, I mean, they'd both be over 100. I could make that math work, but you're penciling me in for Peters. Yeah, Peters.
All right, Thomas Peters. All right, so we got one half of the bracket done. Let's move to the other half here in this very poorly formatted, weird screenshot that the PGA Tour sent out. Group number 2 features my guy, Colin Morikawa as the number 1 seed, Bobby Mack, Robert McIntyre as the 4. Then you have Sergio and Kokrak in between. This is tough, man. Is there something wrong with Morikawa right now? Or is he just kind of plateauing and this happens to everyone?
I don't think there's any problem. The problem is he was so freaking good that now there's a perceived problem. Like, I don't know what to say. Tiger Woods at his best had a 33% event win rate. 1 out of every 3 he won. Now I get frustrated when Rahm goes X without winning and Morikawa goes X without winning. So I don't think there's a problem. I just think it's ebbs and flows. And I'm seeing one site that boosted him to 25 saying, you thought those Colin numbers could never drift for you? Well, step in front of it. if it's what you want. I will not be. I like other guys in this group. I think I could talk myself into at the moment.
I think you can talk yourself into McIntyre, I think he went 1-1-1 last year, or 1-2 or something, and somehow scraped by getting into the second round. But you could play that left-handed angle. You could play Sergio at Pete Dye courses, someone who's had a lot of success in match play over the years.
Sergio, this is like his home now, Pat. He's married the Austin girl. Like I'm pretty sure this. I'm not saying this is his home course, but this event is in his backyard. I think I can say.
I think that we're going to talk circles around to not take Colin Morikawa. And, I mean, isn't this kind of the perfect setup for him? Where, hey, let me hit the middle of the fairway 250 yards out. Let me hit some wedges at these holes. Like, that's his entire course.
Yeah, I'm not saying it can't work perfectly for him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he won one bit. But of the guys under 25 to 1 this week, I don't know. I'm not really looking at him, and that'll probably be my mistake.
It seems like a very popular spot to fade Morikawa, because I am kind of concerned that the irons his irons aren't firing like Colin Morikawa, the guy who was averaging like a stroke more than everyone else. Now I'm having strokes betting on him every single time. But now we're seeing that number drift back a little bit, which is nice. I'm seeing him at 20 to 1 right now, 16 to 1 in some places. You said you saw a boost up to 25 to 1. I might be able to get behind that a little bit, because I really do think that people will talk themselves into whatever narrative that they want for this. Do you think the Coke Racks, because I used Coke Rack and one and done last week, bet on him. He was an absolute fucking travesty at the Valspar. But are his eyes on the Saudi prize right now for that league?
I'm not really sure what that's about, but Kokrak at 70 certainly is potentially attractive. For me, it's Bobby Mack or Sergio in this one for my call.
I can see it. Like, Sergio was someone I wanted to target coming into this event. I don't think that's going to be unique in any sort of way, because looking at his betting odds right now, Sergio Garcia is, where the hell is Sergio?
Not high enough. 30, you would want it higher.
35 to 1 to win this event. And I think that tracks. Like, that's probably where he should be based on his success at this tournament. Although eventually, once we get to the end, unless you're Bubba for whatever reason, eventually you do have to make some like 10-foot putts in order to win this tournament. You need to be able to steal some holes. And the issue with Sergio is that he just can't do that.
I totally agree. And I would wait that one out on DK, Pat.
I'm going to go with Morikawa. Now that he's like dropped back down, I think like I'm staring at 20 in the face right now. If you said you can find a 25, like I feel like I'd be fucking stupid not to take that. Like that's where I want to be betting more. That's where he cashed me
get
all
a 60 on Sergio.
Well, 60 on Sergio is a lot more palatable than a 35 on Sergio. Getting almost double the odds is very nice.
Yeah, and as I said, I would let that DK Sergio develop, especially in a pod with the number 2 player in the world, and maybe players people could be attracted to behind him. Bobby Mack or Sergio. How's Bobby Mack been playing lately? I remember he just brought it back to basics and did good.
He has not played since Riviera.
Give me Sergio.
Okay, Sergio for Geoff. Next group down, I got a take here, and I don't love it. And this is the exact... All 4 of these players in Group 15 were ones that I had identified as, these are going to be the sort of upset winners in their group. This is going to be perfect. And somehow they all end up in the same fucking group. Answer, Bubba, Webb, and Harman. I'm taking Webb. I've seen enough. This is where I want to go with Webb. I think it's a great format for him. I think it's a great course for him. This is now the 3rd week in a row that he's playing. I feel like he's getting his health back together. He wasn't great at the Valspar by any stretch of the imagination, but he was better than he was at the Players. If he's getting his game back together, we're still catching big numbers on Webb. And maybe it's a better outright bet than playing it in a bracket, but it's a fucking free bracket. Who gives a shit? That I can bet Webb right now at, where the hell did Webb go? 80 to 1? Yeah, sign me up for a Pete Dye course that correlates with the Wyndham, the Sony, the Heritage, and the RSM. Thank you.
Yeah, you're right. This is like the Pete Dye bracket.
Yeah.
In some respects. Answer certainly wasn't a 1 seed last year.
Well, he is this year.
And he's probably the weakest of the current form ones. So I guess that you could debate that on your own. I don't want to throw any stones into Answer. What is his outright odd?
Answer? Hardly newer?
Yeah.
We got Abraham Answer 50-1. Pretty good number. Bubba is... Nope, that is not what I want to do. I want to control F. Bubba is... Where the hell is Bubba? Bubba's...
I'm going to take Answer.
All right, Bubba's 65-1.
I'm going to take Answer.
Didn't
Maybe...
people like Bubba last week?
I don't know. I can't speak for other people. People like Bubba last week. I don't know.
Herman and Bubba are exactly the same odds at 65-1. Webb is like the prohibited underdog in this group, and it's stupid match play. Like, why not Webb?
Yeah, I would definitely lean Webb or Answer. Answer was 2-0 with a 3-shot lead on his back nine here last year. I like Answer.
All right.
I was real shook. I'm real shook just reliving his exit from last year. But in doing that reliving, I'm picking him again to advance.
I like that they jammed all of the lefties into one quadrant. They're all in the same group or they're going to play each other in the next round to get all the lefties out of the way. Group number 15. We got Xander, Takumi Kanata, Tony Finau, and Lucas Herbert. I think you would be deranged if you didn't bet Xander Schauffele to win this tournament. He is my one and done pick this week, by the way.
Okay, so that's great news because I have bet Xander Schauffele 28-1, Pat. And the thing I said about Rahm earlier, I meant it in my head really for the case I want to make for Schauffele, in that I really think this event and how it's constructed sets up perfectly for his talent, his skill set, and the wind drought. Like, it's just, you could just very focus on the carrot in front of you. And don't get me wrong, even the guys ranked 60, like that's their goal. Like, just worry about the carrot in front of you on each day. But yeah, Xander Schauffele, I think this event is the time. It's my pick. It's the bet that I have made along with Thomas Peters at the moment.
Yeah, it just the draw that he ended up getting in this group, it's the easiest group for any of the one seeds. That doesn't guarantee Lucas Herbert doesn't knock him off. We saw that last year with Victor Perez and Bryson. Like, guys lose all the time. That's neither here nor there. But the way that I look at it is that what he is currently doing, and maybe he's not playing as poorly as some people may think, but he's still the best player in the field over the past 24 rounds from 150 and in. He's still striping his wedges. Where he's having issues right now are from 200 plus. The driving is still okay if he can bring the putter along with him. It does seem like he has a bit of leeway, unless one of these three other guys' putters start running really hot in matches against him, that out of all the one seeds, he's some of the deepest in terms of odds. He has the easiest draw in the first round. And then coming out of it, it's tough to say what's going to happen in the group below him, but you have four guys that seem like they're going to beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, no, I had earmarked a few players even the bracket that I liked, that I liked the odds. I thought the odds would work, and Xander was one of them. And I saw the bracket, and I was excited, I guess, to make that bet.
Can you make a case for Finau, for Lucas Herbert, or Kanaya?
Yeah, no. Finau's really good at golf, and he can make a lot of birdies that can offset losing a hole.
Yeah, but he has
the other guys I'm not making a case for.
He's far. I mean, I would probably if I was going to pick like an upset in this group, it would probably be Herbert. That would be my play on this, because I don't know where Finau's at the moment. At least Herbert's playing like good.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, so Xander moving on for me, and you have Xander moving on as well.
Yeah, long time.
Okay, Group number 10 do I even have this right now? Yeah, group number 10, Louis, Noren, Casey, and Connors. Three guys who have played really well at this tournament, and another guy who rates out Corey Connors to play really well at this tournament as well. Like, these are all, Louis and Noren, I think, kind of fit into the same bucket as types of players that Louis is obviously the better version of Noren, but they're going to they might get hot with the Ryans, but they can putt you to death. Both have had success making it to the Final Four of this tournament. Then you have Casey and Connors. Like, Connors is basically just the minor league version of Casey, isn't he?
I love this group. This group, like, gets me. I am so very much into... I'm actually so disappointed in how this group broke off, Pat, because I love a lot of players in it. Specifically, Alex Noren is a guy I wanted, but I don't know. These are going to be battles. This is the most intense group for me. I think this one overtakes the Hattenberger Siwoo group and Scheffler versus the Englishman.
Who are you taking? Because Noren's going to be a very popular pick here based on the way that he's playing, based on the history that he has at this course. Yeah, I think even in this group.
Because I want to take Noren, but if
of course you do. Everyone's going to look at this and be like, man, I like Alex Noren. But
I always like Alex Noren.
Sure, but now people are back on board with liking Alex Noren because he's fucking playing well. And I'm saying that as a case to pick him if you want to. I think it's a good pick. I'm not picking him, but that's me. I only pick losers, so I wouldn't listen to me.
There's a lot of losers in this group, despite how good at golf they are.
It is really the ultimate loser group, Group 10.
Like, don't get me wrong, they're all stars. I just mean, I'm going to pick Noren, but man, Casey could win the whole goddamn thing.
I'm going to take Connors to emerge from this group. I like that his ball striking is back to where it needs to be, although Casey's is as well. I think that he and Casey are both very similar type players. And I think that putting means less in a tournament like this to advance. I think to get all the way and win, yeah, you do need to be like a reasonable putter. We obviously know Corey Connors is not. Although the one time that he was able to do it was in Texas when he won the Valero and putted okay for the week. But all the ball striking woes that he had earlier this season, they're gone. He is back to driving the ball well. He's back to hitting his irons well. And he's especially good from 150 and in particular, 100 to 125. He can get to where he wants to get to off the tee. That's not going to be an issue for him. He's one of the more accurate players in this field. Very Abraham Assay-like, although I don't think that he's French. He's Mexican. Probably does not pronounce his name that way. But with Connors, once you start giving him a lot like Casey in that circumstance, and Casey's advanced out of his group a bunch of times in this tournament. Once you start giving them 3-footers and 4-footers, their putting numbers look a whole lot better, Geoff.
Don't give them to him.
And Kevin Na is not in this group, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see, I guess there's a circle of trust that could clearly exist here. I don't know. This is such a hard pick for me, but I'm picking Noren.
Where are we seeing, what are Connors' odds? Connors is 60 to 1 to win this tournament. Noren is 60 to 1 to win this tournament. Casey is coming off a good players, 30 to 1 to win the tournament, and Louis 30 to 1. So you have 2 30s and 2 60s. I think if you just added up all of the betting odds of any group and whoever ended up with the lowest number, I think this is probably the group. It has no weak, like we talked about that one that doesn't have the weak link because I overvalue how good Siwoo is and how good Bezadenhout is. Like, these guys are like legit good.
Yeah, the Scheffler with Fleetwood and
True.
Scheffler with Fleetwood and Fitz and Poulter could, if you did the math, that one could maybe be close.
Yeah, so it's that one or the one on the other side, I suppose, or the one just one of my favorites. And even that answer group with Bubba and Harman, I think that's a really strong group from top to bottom. If you were just kind of power ranking how tough some of these pods are. That one, in my mind, just based on this course, based on their skill sets, based on their history and Pete Dye track record, and their current form coming into play, I think those ones are really good as well. Reminder to everyone to smash the like button to the episode. You want to get in on the chat? You better sub to Mayo Media Network. Okay? Thanks. Let's do that right now. Smash the like. Again, while you're here, double down on that. I mean, don't double down on that because that probably takes you have to triple down on it because if you hit it once and then hit it again, I think it takes it away. So then you need to hit it a third time. And if you want to play in a free bracket against me, hit the description. There's the bracket link down there for the challenge that I'm doing. There's giveaways. It's free to play. I highly recommend that you go do it and deposit at fanteam.com, the people that are putting on this bracket. and use code MMN. Deposit $20, use code MMN, play in one of the tournaments at Corrales, and you'll get a free Masters ticket to their giant GPP. So easy money if you go and try that out right now. Group number 13. Should we reveal who's Andrew Curse for the week? Because they're in this group, Jeff.
Yeah, it's time. Unfortunate. People are not going to be happy, Pat.
Victor Hovland is the 1 seed. Zalatoris is the 2 seed. Cameron Tringali is the 3 seed. Seb Straka is the 4 seed. He was the second to last man in this tournament, now that Maverick McNeely is into the bracket with Sam Burns pulling out on Monday morning. Will Zalatoris, my friend, is Anda cursed for the week. However, I mean, I thought that Vic was going to miss the cut last week, and that would have been an all-time Andrew Curse performance. Fortunately, he made like a 35-footer on the 35th hole to sneak through on the number for the weekend. This is a nice spot for Vic, though, I think.
It's hard to think any spot isn't nice for Vic. Yeah, and I guess at the time a year ago when he came back from 3 on the back 9 on answer, if he were to do that again this year, it would feel a lot more normal in my mind than it would have a year ago. Like, that's just part of the course. That's just like part of Vic, like normalcy, I guess is what I'm trying to say now. But I'm going to ride the curse here. Give me Big Willie Styles.
Yeah, I
50-1.
I liked Big Will coming into this week, and this obviously completely threw me off. Did you already bet him at 50-1? Because I saw he dropped to 30 or 35.
No, but there's still some 45, 50s around, I think.
My issue would be is that Zalatoris, and listen, you can get to any spot that you want, but again, with all the really short par 4s on this course, that Zalatoris is really good from like 150 and beyond. He's very good with his longer irons. With his flick wedges, like, he's good, but he's not elite from 150 and in. That would be my only case against him, although you can most definitely play that his putting struggles are going to be less of a struggle this week.
No, I totally back that narrative. Like, can get behind the Zalatoris' strengths are mitigated on a course like this. You've seen where he, even almost winning at Torrey Pines, the places where he's played his best are some of the toughest courses. Right.
Well, hold on. Looking at the field right now, one thing I didn't do was sort by 350 to 400 yard par 4s. I'm looking at the past 50 rounds. The best players in the field on those holes: Sergio Berger, Mac Hughes, Webb, Justin Rose, Luke List, Billy Horschel, Will Zalatoris, Scotty Scheffler, Kevin Na, Ian Poulter, Russell Henley, Louis Oosthuizen. Those are all the guys that play well in this tournament.
Well said. I'm picking Will Zalatoris from this group.
All right.
Speaking of circle of trust, you wonder if he'll have any.
Hovland's obviously the pick here. I don't think, like, when you're trying to search for sleepers, I think there are very obvious sleepers in some of the brackets. And, maybe when I talk to Sky and we talk about DraftKings picks, he'll be like, yeah, well, literally 0.1% of the field is going to take Cameron Tringali, so maybe you take him. I don't see it with Tringali. I don't see it with Straka. That doesn't mean they can't win the pod. Zalatoris is like a very clear pivot off of a very popular Hovland. So I think that I'll go with you and go with Big Will Z in this circumstance. Maybe he can have one of those weeks where he makes all his like 35-footers and then doesn't have to attempt his 3-footer.
Wouldn't that be fun?
I mean, that's the situation that we're potentially looking at right now. Group number 14 is Neiman as the 1 seed. McNeely, last man in the tournament, as the 4. Then you have Na and Henley. Henley, who on paper looks like he should be gangbusters at this course. And then Kevin Na, who's just really good match play history. Coming back from baby sweat. He has not played in a while.
I'm going to pick Russell Henley to win this bracket.
You in the world, my friend. You in the world.
Yeah, no, I'm not betting him to win. I don't even know that I'd make a prop to win Group 14. But for the purposes of this game, I'm going to pick Russell Henley to win this bracket.
Okay. I mean, that's completely fair. You don't like Neiman in Texas?
I do like Neiman very much. If we're talking about potential outright bets, maybe Neiman, although he's still,
Neiman's 35-1, basically.
Afterglow of his win on the priced market.
Everywhere across the board, he's essentially 35-1. Maybe you can grab a 40. At some places, he might get beat down to 30, but it's an interesting group. Like, he is clearly the best player in this group. I'm going to take Kevin Na. Again, when you start talking about Colonial and Sony, I do worry that there's been a layoff. He's been dealing with a newborn baby this entire time, but there's only so many courses where you want to like take Kevin Na to do anything. One where he can hit his wedges the entire time and try to make some putts is most definitely that type of course.
Makes sense. He would have been my next picks.
And
I guess just, I don't know. I've picked a lot of ones. I'm trying to fade. Henley or Na were kind of.
Yeah, but Neiman is going to be the least picked 1 seed, I think. Because I don't think anyone buys him like in the context of being a 1 seed. It's a lot like Answer. Actually, Answer is probably the one that fewer people will take. Although people might just look at his Pete Dye history, end up rolling with him, and say, hey, sure, Abraham Answer. Although Bubba and Harmon and the other guy in that group, whoever the hell it is going to be pretty Webb are probably going to be pretty like evenly split. In this one, I think it's just really easy to fade Neiman and take Russell Henley. Because Henley's going to rate out very well in any sort of stats that you look at. His recent form is fantastic coming in. He has a win in Texas in his career. It's still before the Masters, so he has a chance to win one of these tournaments at the comp courses that we talked about. He's been excellent here. I get it. I completely get it.
He's 55-1 to win the WGC. Like, you got to...
Yeah, but they're not hanging any
priced,
deep...
He's priced like he's going to be
They're
popular.
not hanging any deep numbers on anyone, though. Like the lowest...
No, but I'm just saying, he's priced like he's pretty popular.
He's popular everywhere. He's over, in our minds, he's overvalued every single week by the betting market. And he never wins, but he does well every single week.
I agree, and that's why I'm picking him to win this pod.
All right, I'll go with Kevin Na. Hopefully the game is in form. Group number 6, the Justin Thomas group. Were you surprised JT blew it on Sunday at Valspar?
No. Yes and no. Like, I don't know. When he catches fire, he has that swagger. You think he's unstoppable. But once it quickly starts leaking, no. The answer is no. Was not surprised, to be honest.
Okay.
Wasn't.
JT is perfectly set up for this course. Can he make enough of those mid-range putts to advance? Because it only takes getting caught once, and then you're absolutely finished. I think that betting against him is probably the right move here for me. I don't know if I love Luke List in a format like this. I like Leishman.
Yeah. 80-1.
Yeah.
Bad draw, but that was frustrating.
But it's not a bad draw if he advances, though. Like, if he can just get past Justin Thomas, this quadrant is the weak quadrant, in my mind at least. Like, you have the 2 weakest 1 seeds, theoretically, in Neiman and Spieth. And then you have, like, Keegan Bradley in this group, who, I mean, should actually be okay at this course. You just have a lot of throw-ins. Like, Straka is someone who qualified late. Tringale's, like, whatever. McNeely's the last man in the field. Keegan Bradley's an alternate to get in this field. Rose isn't playing all that well. I mean, Kisner's playing great. Kisner's won this event. Maybe we should just say Kevin Kisner and make it easy on ourselves. But Leishman, I think, sets up well here, and if it gets windy, I always trust him.
I like Leishman. I've even stared at the 80-1s that I've seen to win this thing, being drawn with Justin Thomas. No interest to run. You know, I had to let that simmer. But for this, let's pick Leishman just to move on. Unless you're worried that NBC wants a Saturday morning Justin Thomas Spieth matchup. And that's like predetermined.
So this is like cuss theory on why the SEC was going to be awesome at the NCAA tournament because CBS wants them there, and then they lost. Like, every game. Yeah. So man, we're both going with Leishman. Weird. Did not expect that. Let's see, 14th from 125 to 150, 16th from 100 to 125. So at least that part of his game checks out. Not the greatest on these short par 3s. Thomas rates out as the best player in this field, by the way. When I looked at, like, when I ran all my numbers, it's Rahm and JT are your 2 best. But specifically to the dimensions that I was looking at this course, Thomas is the best. Coming off a pretty good week, too. You know, if he had won the Valspar, he would become like the 4th player in history with 15 wins before he turned 30.
Yeah, his win rate is pretty remarkable. I'm always kind of blown away by how many it is, like 10 or 12, right?
I believe it's 14 because with a win, it would have been 15. So in my mind, that's how the math works out.
Yeah, 1 plus 14 is 15. I don't remember him winning 15 times. I must have lost a lot of money.
Well, he won in Kuala Lumpur back to back.
Yeah, that was like...
That was in two. Yeah, but that's the thing. He started winning in like 2017, so it's been 5 years. And he won. But
Kuala Lumpur, like he that was like a 2 or 3 win. Then he won the Sony twice maybe. Then
he won the Sony once. He won the Honda. Are
they counting his father-son?
Maybe they are. I don't know. I don't think that's the case. That was the stat that maybe it wasn't 15. Maybe it was 13. Because, yeah, coming to, let's see. He won the Players. He won St. Jude, Tournament of Champions.
CGA.
He's won the CJ Cup twice. He won the PGA, won the BMW, PGA Championship, Sony Open, TOC, Kuala Lumpur twice. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, it's 14 on the number. He won his first Kuala Lumpur in 2015. I think I've really underrated how long Justin Thomas has been around now.
Well, I used to make comments like, it must be so frustrating being Justin Thomas because you've probably beaten Jordan Spieth in 95% of the matches you two have played together your whole lives, but he's just out here winning majors and you're, haven't won on mainland property yet.
I do recall that narrative. Like he had the same sort of thing that Vic has at the moment, where guy can't win in mainland America, only in Hawaii and overseas in Mexico.
No, well, I didn't mean like that was a permanent thing. I just meant like how frustrating it must be for him or motivating when you see guys that you can beat or you beat regularly in your own personal games winning majors. It's got to be frustrating, I think.
The 11 group, the final group for the WGC Match Play. Reminder to smash the like button to the video, fill out I believe the bracket is now out on PGAtour.com, but we have the link to the bracket contest with free giveaways down in the description. If you want to go play it, use code MMN at Fanteam Golf at fanteam.com as well to get that bonus if you enter a Corrales tournament. Probably a fun way to play Corrales this week. The DraftKings Listeners League with the DraftKings prices now out is down in the description as well. Jordan Spieth is the 1, Keegan is the 4, and then you have Scott and Rose in between. Have a feeling Adam Scott is going to be a very popular pick this week.
Get on my back. Let's go. Adam Scott.
What are his...
that was an easy one for me.
Adam Scott's 55-1? That's pretty good odds.
I mean, I'm hoping he peaks at the Masters, but maybe he wants to peak early.
Interesting. Oh, shit. Matt Ryan just got traded to the Colts for a 3rd-round pick. Fun stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Got a feeling something was happening today.
This is their move now. They take guy who's well past his prime, make them the starting quarterback, and then at the end of the year, they're like, what happened? It's the 3rd year in a row.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like maybe just package your 3rd and 1st together and trade up to get one of these rookies, save yourself the money, and maybe they're good.
They can still do that.
Oh, they don't have the 3rd now. They just traded it to Atlanta.
But didn't they get 2 3s for Wentz or something? They
could
do it.
Yeah, I suppose that's correct. Who are we taking in this bottom one? I kind of want to take Spieth.
Oh, I'm taking Scott.
Oh, you're taking Scott? Like 100% you're taking
but
Scott?
I almost took Rose, but I'm going to take Scott.
Let me look at the numbers here. How does Scott do on the shorter? Oh, Scotty Scheffler absolutely crushes these shorter ones. Oh. Scott does not. He's actually one of the worst guys in the field at it. What about Spieth? Spieth's even worse, so that's fantastic news. Who's the other jabroni in this group? Why can't Keegan Bradley win this group with the type of player that we just kind of talked about?
He could. I'm not picking him.
Okay. Fair enough. Spieth. Yeah, man. I'm going to take...
Rose, I think, could rate out well, too, but I'm going with Scott.
What are Spieth's odds to win?
40, probably.
Really? They're less than Scott? No, I don't like that at all.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, he's 35-1. Wow. Did not expect that.
Texas, baby. Texas. Longhorn.
Okay, I'm going to switch to Scott with you because I'm going to bet Scott as an outright, so I might as well have him advancing in the bracket. That only makes a lot of logical sense to me. Okay, so I have been keeping track of all of our picks this entire time. Geoff. So when you are done, remember to hit the description, play in the bracket challenge. That's completely free for everyone to go play. The password is there once you follow the link to play in the specific league. It's for fanteam.com. And there's prizes that they're giving away to people as long as you have an account on their site, free or otherwise. So go to fanteam.com. You might as well deposit $20, play in the Corrales, get a free Masters ticket with code MMN. Those links are down in the description as well. I'm going to plow through mine here. I'm going to go Cameron Young over Eric Van Rooyen, Mac Hughes over the Gucci Man, Berger over Cantlay, Tommy over Hoagie, and then I'll go Cam Young, Daniel Berger, and I'll have Berger going to the finals. And then on the other side, I'll have Morikawa over Webb, Xander over Morikawa, Na over Zalatoris, Scott over Leishman in a battle of Australia, X over Morikawa, Scott over Na, X over Na, Berger versus Xander in the final. Xander wins the WGC Dell Match Play in 2022, just adding to the list of weird non-cut tournaments that he can win.
Yeah, perfect event for him to get off the mat for. I'll be rapid fire if you could read mine out to me.
Rahm versus your best friend Harold Varner III.
Rahm.
Are you sure? Maybe he's going to revoke those tickets now that you didn't pick them.
I hope the email's already. I think the tickets already came through. I could be wrong.
DJ versus the Gucci Man.
DJ.
Oh, Rahm versus DJ.
Rahm.
Okay. Cantlay versus Berger.
Berger.
Hauser Berger. Tommy versus Peters.
Love them both. But if Peters is a whack, we gotta be quick. Tommy.
Thank you. Berger versus Tommy. Remember the quick part?
Berger.
Rahm versus Berger.
Rahm.
Oh, you're really going on a Rahm train here. Sergio versus Answer.
Sergio.
Xander.
Answer. Abort. Answer.
Xander versus Norin.
Xander.
Zalatoris versus Henley.
Zalatoris.
Leishman versus Scott. I'm guessing you're going Scott.
Well, that's tough, but yeah, Scott.
So Answer versus Xander.
Xander.
Zalatoris versus Scott.
Zalatoris.
Xander versus Zalatoris.
Is that a Final Four match?
That is a Final Four match. You're going to pick the same.
Zalatoris.
Rahm versus Zalatoris in the finals.
Rahm.
So you have John Rahm winning, and I have Xander Schauffele winning. So I have Berger.
And my Final Four is Berger, Rahm, Zalatoris, Xander?
Correct. And my Final Four is Berger, Cam Young, Adam Scott, and Xander. With Xander versus Berger in the finals, and Xander winning, thus completing the rematch from Colonial in the first event out of the COVID break. That Morikawa won. No, Morikawa lost. Who won that? Berger won it. Berger beat Xander and Morikawa in that. So those are the players. That I'm just looking at that tournament in general and hoping it plays out that way.
Interesting. Should have Jason Kokrak going farther, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I have Kevin Na going further, so that's the angle that I'm going to take.
Fair enough.
All right. One and done picks for the match play. I'm taking Xander. Cust is taking Zalatoris. Who are you going to use?
Let's say Berger, I guess.
Have you used Berger? Do you recall using Berger at any point?
No.
I can look at this, though. Let's see. Golf draft. No, that's not right. Where did I save this? The one and done sheet. Let's see what we can pull up here. You have not used Berger, so perfect. You can use Daniel Berger for this. So quick picks for this event. I have already bet Xander at 28-1. I've bet Cam Young 125-1 plus the top four. So if he makes it to the semifinals, looking good. As we're live on the show, I think I'm going to bet Adam Scott at the same time. Should I bet Scott with the each way or just roll with him at 55? Do you see a better number than 55 out there? I should probably ask you that.
I see 59.
59. If it's 59, I know what site you're talking about.
That's what I see, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I'll go 59 on Scott because I have money on that account. And then, I mean, if I like Webb's number at 80, I like Morikawa's number. The problem is Xander, Webb, and Morikawa are all in the same, one quadrant. So I'm kind of killing my own money. Although that gives me more chances for guys to come out at the same time. Maybe I really shouldn't be too concerned about that in the outright market if I'm not going to play the each ways on everyone. But I'm giving a hard look to Morikawa at the top with Xander if I can find that 25 that you talked about. But Xander, Young, and Scott, I'll have the cheat sheet in the newsletter Tuesday evening. But Webb and Morikawa might get added to this as well.
Xander, I have bet. Willie Z. Xander, I have bet. Thomas Peters, I have bet. The only other, I'm looking at Willie Z at 50. Looking at that Scott bet. And I'll be honest, I just picked Rahm to win at 14-1. I'm thinking about it. And Leishman at 80. But obviously, if I pick Rahm, that's going to change some things. And I should be thinking about Berger because I sent him to the Final Four. So those are just the things I got to think about. But Peters and Xander are the bets. Leishman I like.
Jeez, there it is. 25-1, Colin Morikawa. Interesting. In. Morikawa's on the card. 25-1. It's too big of a number for my guy. Can't do it. Can't do it like that. Can't have it. I'll do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Hopefully that was helpful. Probably wasn't. But we got to talk about everyone. That's always fun.
I enjoyed it. That's it was a long time for me and my leg at the moment.
Yeah.
So I probably became a bit of a squirmy wormy. And if you saw me rubbing below the table, I promise you I was massaging my kneecap.
That's what you were doing? Are you sure?
Yeah. My thigh, my quad, my kneecap. Yeah. Okay. Even right now, you probably see I'm a lefty too, so that wouldn't even be my aggressive stroking hand.
You can switch it.
Got to.
People can switch it.
I couldn't.
Couldn't do it?
I probably couldn't. I haven't tried, but I probably
You switch
couldn't.
it better than a stranger, pal.
Although after this upper thigh kneecap massaging I've been doing with my right hand, I probably could attempt a switch hit. If any time now would be it for me.
All right. Well, I know your leg is bothering you, so follow Geoff on Twitter at GFienberg17. You should most definitely do that, as you should smash the like button to this episode. And if you want to be able to be involved in the live chats going forward, be it for golf or football or whatever we end up doing, you need to be a subscriber to the Mayo Media Network on YouTube. So please go do that as well. If you're watching it after the fact, leave your winner down in the description. The DK League is open. It's in the description right now. So please go join that. 3 max entry. No rake, thus the best tournament on DraftKings, back after a week absence. And there's a bracket challenge down there as well, thanks to our friends at fanteam.com. If you go to fanteam.com and use code MMN, and then you enter one of the Corrales tournaments of $15 or more, you can play straight pick'em, DFS, whatever you want. You'll get a free entry into the Masters Giant tournament that they have going along, and there are giveaways and prizes to win the bracket challenge as well. So hell, even if you just want to play the bracket challenge, you can come play it against all of us. It'll be a good time. I will be back on Tuesday with Skylar Hoke talking about the DraftKings implications and the best way to strategize for DraftKings this week, as Sky is always on top of these weird tournaments and the best angles to take and how many people actually end up doing that. And Wednesday, I have my Oscar bet show, which is already recorded. So that'll come out first thing on Wednesday morning. Please tune into that, or even if you don't care about movies, download it anyway. I'd appreciate it. I'm Pat Mayo. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.